I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We're going to begin this morning with members of the House gearing up to vote later today on a bill to finally end the record-breaking 43-day-long government shutdown.
The bill already cleared the Senate. If it passes in the House later today, it'll keep most federal agencies funded through the end of January. That means President Trump could sign it into law later tonight, which would reopen the government. But it's not a light switch. It's unclear just how quickly air travel would get back to full capacity or when those SNAP recipients will get all of their food assistance for November. NBC's Alice Barr joins us from Washington with the very latest. Alice, good morning.
Good morning, Joe and Savannah. Yeah, it's going to take some time to unwind from all the snarled consequences of this government shutdown. And there is still a fight ahead. In a late-night Rules Committee meeting, the top Democrat in the House tried to get an amendment to extend Affordable Care Act subsidies for 3 years. Republicans blocked it, many arguing that program at the center of this fight doesn't work. On what could be the final day of the nation's longest government shutdown, House members are racing back to Washington to cast a critical vote on the Senate-passed short-term funding bill.
Welcome back from your taxpayer-funded 7-week vacation.
Democratic leadership slamming the House Speaker's move to keep members out of session while the shutdown dragged on, as Republicans pin the pain on Democrats.
For 42 days and counting, Democrats have held the country hostage.
House Democrats set to vote against the deal a breakaway group of Senate moderates agreed to, angered that it does nothing to address the central sticking point of lowering health care costs and extending Affordable Care Act tax credits.
Healthcare costs are still poised to double or even triple for some folks practically overnight.
With a newly elected Democrat being sworn in today, House Republicans can only afford to lose 2 votes. It is expected to pass and secure President Trump's signature.
We're opening up our country. Should have never been closed.
Relief can't come soon enough for the nation's airports, where flight delays and cancellations are growing.
It has to be the shutdown. What else could it be? This has never happened to me before.
The Transportation Secretary warning the situation driven by staffing shortages will get much worse if the shutdown stretches into the weekend.
If this doesn't open, you might have airlines that say, we're gonna ground our planes.
A lot on the line in the final push to get the government back in business. So even in the best case scenario that the funding bill passes, President Trump signs it tonight again, there is no on-off switch. Airlines say they will not be able to bounce back to full capacity right away. Also expecting delays for the 40 million plus Americans waiting for full SNAP food assistance benefits.
And Alice, what about federal worker back pay, especially for the air traffic controllers who've been working without getting paid and are key to getting that air travel back on track?
Yep, and another important piece here. There's a 2019 law that says federal workers who miss paychecks in a shutdown have to be paid back at the earliest date possible after it ends, regardless of when their pay dates are supposed to be. But here on air traffic controllers, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says that they should receive 70% of their back pay within 48 hours of the shutdown ending, but the other 30% won't come for another week. Guys.
All right. Alice Barr, thank you so much.
Well, as members of the House sprint back to Washington, Speaker Mike Johnson says his first order of business is to finally swear in Democratic Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva 7 weeks after she won Arizona's special election. Now, Grijalva is set to take the oath of office this afternoon at the Capitol, just before the House takes up that vote to reopen the government.
This will bring an end to a nearly 50-day battle. During the shutdown, Democrats called on Johnson to perform the ceremony. Some, including Grijalva, accused Johnson of dragging his feet, knowing that she would sign a petition to trigger a vote related to releasing the Epstein files. Johnson maintained he simply could not swear in the Congresswoman-elect while the House was out of session. In an interview last night, Grijalva dismissed that justification.
This is unprecedented. It's undemocratic, it's unconstitutional, it's illegal. No member-elect should ever be in this situation again, where 813,000 people are silenced because one person wants to play politics with, their swearing in.
For more, let's bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Sirkin. Julie, good morning. So before we get to Congresswoman-elect Grijalva, I do want to get your sense just on something Alice just touched on, which is the fact that House Republicans can only afford 2 defections on this bill to reopen the government. Is there any chance that it doesn't pass?
Look, there's always a chance, especially in the times that we live with Capitol Hill and the House, particularly because of those the 2-vote margin that Speaker Johnson has. But I do think it's good news that last night, very late last night at 1 a.m, the Rules Committee, which is kind of the first step on the train tracks to getting this bill passed, they passed this bill on a party line vote. So all Republicans on that panel did push it through. So that's good news for Speaker Johnson. The vote can go very late into the night tonight. I think the biggest wild card here is actually if members can travel back in time. They're spending all day trying to battle these flight delays. One member, Derek Van Orden from Wisconsin, is actually taking his motorcycle across the country. But speaking of those defections, Democrats are not going to help Republicans out. Their leadership is already urging them to vote against this bill. You'll remember that many Democrats wanted to stay in this fight over the ACA, the Affordable Tax Credit, CARE Act tax credits that are expiring at the end of this year. And so you do have about 3 to 4 members that we're watching very closely on the Republican side of the aisle.
Let's talk about Representative-elect Grijalva now. Walk us through why she is seen as this key to potentially unlocking more transparency around the Epstein files and how quickly things could start when it comes with that.
Well, very simply, guys, because she will be vote number 218 on the discharge petition. It's a bipartisan effort from Thomas Massie, who happens to be one of the Republicans that we're watching very closely, to vote against this government funding bill to reopen the government. It's his effort with Congressman Ro Khanna, Democrat from California. They've been pushing this for months to try and force the Trump administration's hand on releasing all of these Epstein files. There's a parallel investigation happening in a Republican-led committee in the House, but that's just not enough for so many members, for so much of the Republican base, and certainly for Democrats who are eager to continue making this an issue. So when Rep-elect, when she will be sworn in today, Adelita Grijalva, she will be the key 218 vote. She will force Speaker Johnson's hand. It will take at least 7 legislative days, and then Speaker Johnson has an additional 2 to put it on the floor, but he's required to do it. So get ready for a fight sometime in December over these files. If the House passes it, the Department of Justice has to release all of the files pertaining to Jeffrey Epstein.
Julie, she said that she actually plans to confront Speaker Johnson about the delay that she faced. Just how unprecedented was this, and how has the Speaker defended his actions here?
It's completely unprecedented. Speaker Johnson has said earlier in this shutdown that he's doing it because the government is out of session, so maybe to put some pressure on Democrats to put up the votes and reopen it. He thought that was going to work. Clearly, Democrats didn't buy it. And then he also noted something that happened earlier where a congresswoman, he called it a Pelosi president, wasn't sworn in for about a month. That was for different reasons. Speaker Johnson clearly surpassing that since it's been 7 weeks. So this is a new record that he's set now by not swearing in the congresswoman-elect. She was elected, by the way, back in September on the 23rd to fill the seat of her late father, who passed away in that Arizona district. Speaker Johnson, for his part, once again pushing back, saying this has nothing to do with delaying that vote on the Jeffrey Epstein files, though all of his critics, including Grijalva and Democrats, want to make it about that. He's saying, of course, that he's going to swear her in today, hours before the vote. It's going to happen around 4 p.m. today, but still setting a new precedent. Grijalva saying she plans to confront him, as she has before during this process, because she couldn't represent so many of her constituents who needed it during this time.
All right, Julie Sirkin, thank you so much.
Amid the ongoing immigration crackdown, President Trump is defending the H-1B visa program, which brings in highly skilled workers from other countries. In an interview on Fox News, he argued foreign labor is needed at times because U.S. workers don't have, quote, certain talents.
The H-1B program allows U.S. companies to sponsor non-immigrant visas to temporarily employ foreign workers in specialty fields like in engineering and in healthcare.
NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander joins us now with more on this. Peter, good morning. So it was just back in September, not that long ago, when President Trump signed a proclamation raising the fee that companies have to pay to obtain those H-1B workers' visas, upping that fee to $100,000. This visa program was signed into law by President George H.W. Bush back in 1990. So walk us through Mr. Trump's comments and why they're getting so much attention.
Well, this conversation took place on Fox News, and the president was asked whether he would prioritize this administration view as it relates to costly visas here to help bring in foreign talent for a variety of industries. Specifically, he said you got to bring in that talent, and the president has indicated, specifically in the fields of auto and artificial intelligence, that it is crucial that there is more talent brought here to the United States. He suggested in the interview that some Americans, his words, might not be best prepared for various phases of production. Here's part of that exchange between the president and the Fox News host. Take a listen.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we
a
have
country
plenty of talented people
no,
here.
You don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have. You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
As you heard the president there, obviously making the case that the U.S. needs to bring in additional talent from overseas. And this was notable for a variety of reasons. You could see the pushback from the Fox News host there, because the president's comments sort of acknowledged this disconnect that may exist between different sides of the Republican Party, different sides of this discord nationwide right now. The president has pushed back on the idea of immigrants in the United States. You know, law enforcement, DHS, and others have, in the views of many, made life much more difficult for immigrants in this country, even those who have arrived here legally, with the crackdowns led by the president and his Homeland Security team nationwide. Joe and Savannah.
Peter, we've got a lot of news we want to get to this morning. Another question out of the White House. The Trump administration, when they've had this whole effort, I'm sure our viewers remember, to remake the federal government, a consistent target here for cuts has been the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Well, now in a court filing, the administration is declaring funding for that bureau illegal. That's ultimately barring the agency from seeking additional money from the Federal Reserve. It was just last year when the Supreme Court actually upheld the bureau's funding. Why is this a significant move? Why is there still back and forth here?
Well, it's a big deal because this does sort of set the course for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to, in effect, cease to exist within the next matter of months. They say that they have basically only a few months worth of funding right now that might get them into early 2026. This is the most direct effort yet to just try to dismantle this consumer watchdog group, sets up this new front and ongoing legal battle over its future right now. In its filing, the CFPB said, again, as I noted, that they think they would be able to go through early next year before exhausting the currently available funds in early 2026. But what's notable here in the impact on Americans is that this move would leave the CFPB without money to operate beginning next year, even to carry out its required activities, unless Congress passes fresh funding for the agency that is unlikely, of course, given widespread Republican opposition to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Joe and Savannah.
Peter, one more thing here. The Department of Homeland Security is taking a victory lap of sorts, stating the city of Chicago had the safest summer since at least 1965. It was just last month when President Trump called Chicago a war zone. Yeah. Homeland Security ties the lower crime rate to the arrival of those immigration agents. The mayor of Chicago saying not so fast. What's going on here?
Yeah, so this is an interesting back and forth, and as you see, our digital team did a really good fact check on this to sort of break it all down for you. As you said, the president had mocked the local officials in Chicago just last month, saying it was a war zone, after the president, basically had touted the fact, after Chicago had touted the fact that there had been a drop in crime that had made it the safest summer the city had seen since 1965. Now the administration is trying to take credit for this. We heard from the Department of Homeland Security just yesterday, an official there citing a drop in crime in Chicago when asked for comments about the status of that city right now. And then we heard from the mayor, who he said crime is significantly down, but he said that the DHS, the federal government, has nothing to do with it. What is notable here is that in August, the month before the federal effort, what was called Operation Midway Blitz, began taking place, those are the numbers we're referring to. Again, before the federal authorities arrived there, homicides were down 24%, shootings were down 24% as well. Robberies down 41%. Car thefts down 28% as well. So this does show a real tension right now, as the president, again, just yesterday, Joe and Savannah, was making the argument that troops, need to go into Chicago to help crack down on a situation that is evidenced by these numbers before they even arrived. We're already dropping by double digits.
All right. Peter Alexander. Peter, thank you so much.
Well, staying with the immigration crackdown, ICE is weighing using new AI technology that helps with language translation. Local police officers are already using it to translate conversations while on the job. This comes as ICE training leaders say they've canceled a 5-week Spanish language course to speed up the hiring process for agents. NBC News senior Homeland Security correspondent Julia Ainsley got an inside look. Julia, good morning.
Hey, so this was really cool, Savannah. I got to go out with police in Joliet, who say it's making a big difference in their community there. Now, this is something that I said they would start using when they canceled that 5 weeks of required Spanish class in order to boost up hiring. Remember, they want to hire 10,000 new officers by the end of this year. But what we found is that police are actually adopting this new technology much more readily than ICE is. Take a listen.
New translation technology out on the beat. Joliet, Illinois police using the latest AI tech, allowing officers to translate conversations on their body cameras.
Seeing people when they know that they're understood, you see their faces light up.
Since June, police here have translated over 23 different languages in 1,800 conversations, all with this device made by Axon. This body cam footage showing officers using it to get critical information in Vietnamese to solve a missing persons case.
You said the last time you saw your daughter was last Thursday, right?
We stopped by a store to test it out.
What do you sell here in your store?
It translates my question to Ivan.
Nosotros vendemos productos colombianos.
And his answer.
We sell Colombian products.
Okay, Colombian products. Very cool. Here in Joliet, where the population is nearly 35% Hispanic, officers here say they don't know how they did their jobs before they had this device.
The remarkable device could help federal law enforcement, too. ICE eyeing this AI technology to help officers in cities like nearby Chicago and around the country, after leaders at ICE's training academy say they canceled a 5-week Spanish class in an effort to speed up hiring.
It looks like we cut out 5 weeks, but we didn't really, because we replaced it with something else in the field that is actually so much more efficient.
But DHS officials tell NBC News ICE has not yet allocated new funding to purchase the translation devices. And a Joliet lieutenant telling us as helpful as the technology is, it won't work in every case.
For something serious like a homicide, armed robbery, or sexual assault type case, you're still going to need that Spanish-speaking officer.
In a statement, an ICE official said that the agency has allocated or has brought on a robust translation services and interpretation services. But they didn't say what those services are or whether or not they would be soon putting money behind these devices, and whether or not they actually have a policy whereby agents would be required to use translation devices in the field. Savannah?
Julia, we're also learning, right, that Charlotte, North Carolina could be the next city where we see immigration enforcement operations. What do we know?
Yeah, that's right. So just as Peter was talking about, we understand that the head of the command for Border Patrol in Chicago, Greg Bovino, is soon going to be leaving that city because Border Patrol has another target in mind, and that is Charlotte, North Carolina. What's different here, Savannah, is that this is not coordinated with ICE. At first, we saw Border Patrol as backup in cities like L.A. and Chicago. Then over the past month, they started to play more of a prominent role, especially when we saw those viral videos of some of the more aggressive and militarized tactics, including tear gas being thrown by Greg Bovino, which is now part of ongoing litigation when they've been enjoined from using excessive force. Now Border Patrol will be going to Charlotte without coordination with ICE in order to increase arrest there. We don't know exactly when they will be going to Charlotte. We just hear this is the next target for this team of Border Patrol agents. Savannah?
All right, Julia, thank you so much.
The U.S. Navy confirms America's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald Ford, has arrived in the Caribbean. The deployment is part of President Trump's show of force to deter cartels from smuggling drugs into the U.S. It comes amid those controversial strikes against alleged drug boats in those waters. NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel has the latest from Colombia as tensions continue to escalate.
The Pentagon announced the USS Gerald Ford arrived in the Latin American region, part of President Trump's war on drug cartels. The Ford is the biggest aircraft carrier in the American fleet and has accompanying warships, far more firepower than needed to sink a few alleged drug smuggling boats. The target could be Venezuela. President Trump calls its authoritarian president, Nicolas Maduro, a narco-terrorist. Neighboring Colombia is also on edge.
Colombia is a drug den. It's a drug den, and it has been for a long time.
I met the chief of Colombia's elite counter-narcotics division. He was emphatic. His troops fight drug smugglers.
What do you think when people in the United States, critics, say that Colombia, your forces, aren't doing anything?
Every day, we continue to carry out intelligence, land, and air operations to combat this scourge of drug trafficking, he said.
The U.S. military strikes on boats allegedly carrying drugs heading for the United States is having a chilling effect on fishermen here in Colombia. Normally, these boats go far out to sea to find their catch. But now, fishermen tell us they're too afraid, worried that if they go far from the shore, they could be hit by a U.S. drone.
These fishermen only brought in a meager haul after 6 hours at sea. Richard Engel, NBC News, Santa Marta, Colombia.
Let's get you to weather now, and you probably know this, an early blast of winter weather is continuing to cause problems for folks here in the east. Parts of West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and western New York were blanketed with roughly 8 inches of snow yesterday, and forecasters say up to 6 more inches of lake-effect snow could fall today. New York City saw its first few flakes of the season yesterday. Meanwhile, in the southeast, 6 million people are under freeze and frost advisories as temperatures in parts of Florida are dipping into the 20s again this morning. If you were with us yesterday, you may remember that temperatures that low can cause cold, stunned iguanas to fall from trees. Luckily, they will revive once the weather warms up.
So when can those lizards expect to feel that warm up? Because everyone's wondering. Let's get a check on your Morning News Now weather.
We've got meteorologist Rafael Miranda with us this morning with your forecast. Raf, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. Good morning, Joe. Yeah, not today. Today is another chilly morning for the iguanas in Florida. You can see we have those freeze warnings and frost advisories in effect for 6 million folks down there. Temperatures this morning very cold. Again, we're talking about below freezing readings into Tallahassee. It's 28 degrees right now. Even into central Florida, temperatures are quite chilly, starting out in the low 40s, but you will rebound later today. In the northeast, chilly and breezy, just like yesterday, but not quite as intense. We had those snow flurries, and it was cold. It was windy all day in New York City and along I-95. Another chilly start today, but just not as bad as yesterday. Some more lake-effect snow showers continue around the region today and even into tomorrow. This is winding down, though, and we're going to see some rain showers in the mix. As far as accumulations are concerned, it's going to be mainly on the light side. Some of the higher elevations here in the mountains of the Northeast picking up a good, decent snow accumulation through tomorrow afternoon. We are warming up, though, across much of the country. A nice thaw out. You can see the warming trend today. St. Louis back above average, still holding on to that below average chill along the eastern seaboard, but this warmth starts to expand by tomorrow. You can see Kansas City near 70 for tomorrow, Memphis in the 70s as well, and then the heat does spread east as we head into the weekend when it really counts for many. Raleigh, you're back to the 70s by Sunday, so gradual warming in the southeast as well. In the northeast, enjoying some milder temperatures over the weekend. Out west, a big storm moving on shore over the next couple of days. It's going to be bringing some travel issues. Today, that storm starts to push in, but tomorrow we're talking about heavy rain and strong winds and a flood risk for those burn scar areas of California. Significant rainfall on the way, so watch out for travel delays in addition to what we're seeing already due to weather if you're heading to the West Coast tomorrow.
All right, Ralph, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.